students. Today we are going to start the next topic of our chapter, that is urine formation. So let's start our topic, urine formation. Urine formation, this process, it's happened after the filtration of the blood by the kidney, and this process completes into the 3 steps. ये जो process है urine formation की, it completes into the 3 steps, that is known as ultrafiltration. Second is known as selective reabsorption, and the third one is known as tubular secretion. So all these steps, they happens into the nephrons of each nephron of the kidney. Secretion, it happens in each nephron of the kidney, and after that the filtrate which is formed is converted into the urine, and this urine passed out from the body. This filtration happens when the blood comes to the kidney, and almost 1100, we can say that 1100 to 1200 ml blood per minute it's passed through the kidney for the filtration. So kidney filters that much amount of the blood per minute, that is almost 1/5 of the blood. It's the 1/5 of the blood, that is total amount of blood which is pumped by the heart per minute. So in this way the kidney do the filtration, and this process happens in these 3 steps, that is ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, and third is tubular secretion. We discuss all these steps of urine formation in more details, and we are starting with the first process, that is ultrafiltration. So let's start. Ultrafiltration, it happens in the Malpighian body. It happens in the Malpighian body of kidney. The nephron, we can say Malpighian body की जब हम बात करें, then I'm sure that you will know that Malpighian body is, it means that we are including Bowman's capsule and glomerulus both here. So it happens in the Malpighian body or in the Bowman's capsule or glomerulus, where this ultrafiltration happens. This filtration process happens due to the pressure. This pressure which is applied here is known as glomerular filtration pressure, which is responsible for doing this ultrafiltration. We are calling it, we will discuss that what are the pressures are there by which this filtration process happens. So it happens due to the net filtration. It happens due to the net filtration pressure. एक फिल्ट्रेशन प्रेशर लगेगा और उसके अगेंस्ट भी कुछ फिल्ट्रेशन प्रेशर से हम एक काम करते हैं, बट ओवरऑल जो नेट फिल्ट्रेशन प्रेशर होगा दैट विल बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द फिल्ट्रेशन ऑफ द means the products which get excreted through the, or which can comes out from the blood. So net pressure, net filtration pressure will be applied here. Now let's see what are the pressures. For this we have to make the diagram of Bowman's capsules and glomerulus. So this is our Bowman's capsule. In the Bowman's capsule we know that blood comes from the afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole is coming by carrying the blood, whereas it leaves the Bowman's capsule in the form of efferent arteriole, and in the Bowman's capsule is divided into the capillaries. So many capillaries are there. These are the capillaries which are present. Now let's see, this is our afferent arteriole. Let the label it is an afferent arteriole which is carrying the blood, and this one is our efferent arteriole which is leaving out. That we already discussed in our previous video, the complete structure of Bowman's capsule and nephrons. So this is about the afferent arteriole which is carrying the blood. Here we know the afferent arteriole has a wider space, it has a wider area as compared to the efferent arteriole, and that is the responsible, this thing is responsible for creating the pressure here on the blood. And this pressure which is created here due to the difference of their sizes in the afferent and efferent arteriole is known as hydrostatic pressure. It's known as hydrostatic pressure, and it's happening in the glomerulus, so we can call it glomerular hydrostatic pressure. We can call it glomerular hydrostatic pressure. This is the first pressure which is applied to, or which is created due to the difference in the sizes of this afferent and efferent arteriole, and the amount of this glomerular hydrostatic pressure is 60 mm of mercury. 60 mm on mercury. So this is glomerular hydrostatic pressure, which is amount is 60 mm of mercury. This is the pressure which is responsible for the filtration. But it's not only a single pressure. Some another pressures are also working here, which works against this pressure or which are resisting this pressure. So let's see what are these pressure which are resisting this glomerular hydrostatic pressure. So उस तरीके के प्रेशर्स में हम इंक्लूड करते हैं 3 इंपॉर्टेंट टाइप्स के प्रेशर. The first we can say, so let me erase this first number here. We are including the resisting pressure which are working against this glomerular hydrostatic pressure. The first is osmotic, or we can call it colloidal osmotic. Sorry, we call it colloidal osmotic pressure. It's a pressure which is applied due to the proteins which is present into the blood plasma. Osmotic pressure. So this is the pressure which is working against this glomerular hydrostatic pressure. We know that blood comes from the capillaries. Capillaries के afferent arteriole के through capillaries में आ रहा है यहाँ पे, और इन capillaries में जो blood के अंदर कुछ specific proteins present होते हैं. The blood has the protein, and mainly we are talking about the albumin protein. So the albumin protein which is present in the blood plasma, it creates a pressure which is known as colloidal osmotic pressure. This pressure resists this glomerular hydrostatic pressure. It works against this pressure. So the amount of this pressure is, let me write it here, this is 30 mm Hg. This pressure is working against this glomerular hydrostatic pressure. This is the one pressure which is resisting. Second one is not, we can call it, that is capsular hydrostatic pressure. We can include the capsular hydrostatic pressure. हम include कर सकते हैं दोनों को, otherwise we will write it separately also. Capsular hydrostatic pressure के अंदर 2 different kinds के pressure होंगे. This is the pressure which is created by the filtrate which is already present in the Bowman's capsule. This is the process which remain continue when the blood is coming into the afferent through afferent arteriole in the capillaries. This Bowman capsule still have some fluid already. It has some already fluid is present there. So the fluid which is present already in the Bowman's capsule, it will also resist this glomerular hydrostatic pressure. It will work against that filtration of the blood. So this is the one that we can include here. This is the fluid which is present in the Bowman's capsule. The amount of this pressure is 10 mm Hg. Whereas this fluid which is present in the interstitial space around this Bowman's capsule, Bowman capsule के आसपास जो interstitial fluid present है interstitial space के अंदर, that will also apply some pressure, and the amount of this pressure is 10 mm Hg. So combining, we can call it, we are call it capsular hydrostatic pressure. This is the combining capsular hydrostatic pressure. So अगर individually आपसे पूछा जाए capsular hydrostatic pressure किसकी वजह से हो रहा है, तो these 2 fluids are there. The fluid which is already present in the lumen of Bowman's capsule, and the second one, the interstitial fluid which is present in the interstitial space. So 10 mm Hg is this one, 10 mm Hg is this one. So we can say that this is the 20 mm Hg. 20 mm Hg is the pressure. Now we will find the net glomerular filtration pressure कि net जो glomerular filtration हो रहा है यहाँ पे, जिसके बारे में हमने यहाँ पे बात की थी, net filtration pressure जो generate होगा, what is the amount of this pressure? So we will, to find this one, we will find that this 60 mm Hg, this 60 mm Hg is the glomerular hydrostatic pressure, minus इसके अंदर हम include करेंगे that 30 which is working against, that is colloidal osmotic pressure. The pressure exerted by the proteins of the plasma is the 30 plus this 20 mm Hg which is present pressure which is exerted by the fluid which is present here. So this is 20. So overall when we calculate it, we will find the value that is the 10 mm Hg. So 10 mm Hg is the net filtration. This is a net filtration pressure. तो अब हम यहाँ पे इसकी वैल्यू लिख सकते हैं that 10 mm Hg is the net filtration pressure by which the filtration happens in the glomerulus. तो यहाँ पे afferent arteriole और efferent arteriole के diameter में difference है, यहाँ पे जो proteins है, यहाँ जो fluid है, all these are creating some pressures, and out of these the net filtration pressure which is formed is the 10 mm Hg, and due to this 10 mm Hg pressure, the blood gets filtered out from the blood capillaries through the glomerulus, and it comes into the lumen of Bowman's capsule. It comes into the lumen of Bowman's capsule. The filtrate which is coming out in the through the blood capillaries is known as glomerular filtrate. इसे हम बोलते हैं glomerular filtrate. So the filtrate which is formed here is known as glomerular filtrate. This is the filtrate which is formed, this glomerular filtrate. So first of all we see that what is the present, what substances are present in glomerular filtration and what amount of this filtrate is formed now. This glomerular filtrate it has the same type of composition as the blood plasma. So it's same as the blood plasma, or we can say it's similar as the blood, except it do not contain the blood cells. It do not contain the blood cells and the proteins. These two things are not present into the blood. The filtrate which is formed here, that we are calling it the glomerular filtrate. So except the blood cells and the proteins, it has the same kind of composition as the blood plasma. अगर इनकी presence होती है, it will indicate towards this some default or some diseases. उसके बारे में भी हम बात करेंगे in coming video. So keep remember these two things should not be present into the filtrate. Okay. So blood cells and proteins के अलावा ये दो चीजें तो present नहीं है, तो it has the same composition. Let's see what are the other substances which are present in this glomerular filtrate. See, this glomerular filtrate contain glucose, and most of the important is the water. This contain the water, glucose, then amino acids. Amino acids are also present in this filtrate. Then it contains the vitamins. Vitamins will be present in the glomerular filtrate, because this filtrate is formed due to the pressure, and due to this pressure, almost all the substances they come into the lumen-of-Bowman's capsule as glomerular filtrate. So it has to be present. यहाँ पे क्या present होगा? Water will be present there, glucose will be present there, amino acids will be present there in the glomerular filtrate. Vitamins यहाँ पे कौन से vitamins की हम बात करें? These are the water soluble vitamins. Fat solubles are not included here. Only the water soluble vitamin will be present here. Except this, the ions, the sodium ion, potassium ions, chloride ions, and then urea, uric acid, ammonia, the pigments, and we can say the creatinine, ketones, body, etc. These are the things which are present into the glomerular filtrate. Out of all these substances, the some are to be required by the body. कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं जो बॉडी के लिए यूजफुल है, like water, glucose, amino acids, vitamins, and these ions. They are required by the body, whereas the sums are the excretory products जिन्हें बॉडी के बाहर निकालना है. So जो चीजें required होंगी उनका क्या होगा वो अभी हम बात करेंगे. Next thing, अगर हम बात करें this glomerular filtrate की, that how much amount of this filtrate is formed. It's from the kidney. So this glomerular filtrate formed in a fixed amount that is known as almost 125 ml per minute. In the kidney, 125 ml per minute this filtrate is formed, and this amount of the glomerular filtrate which is formed per minute by the kidney is known as glomerular filtration rate. We call it glomerular filtration rate. In short, we will call it GFR. GFR stands for the glomerular filtration rate. It means this is the amount of the filtrate which is formed by the kidney in a minute. So it's a 125 ml per minute. But when we talk about a day basis, कि एक दिन में कितना बन रहा है, so the amount of the filtrate formed in a day is a 180 liter per day. It can be changed. इसकी range जो होती है जनरली वो होती है 150 से लेके 180 तक लीटर per day. It depends. Range हमने क्यों बोली क्योंकि change होता रहता है. This amount of the filtrate formed per day depends on many factors like the physical work कितना हो रहा है, water का intake कितना है, sweating कितनी हो रही है. All these factors will decide this glomerular filtration per day कितना filtrate form होगा. But the range is this one, almost 170 तक होता है. But you have to keep remember 180 liter per day the glomerular filtration is formed. And that is much more higher than the amount of the urine which is excreted out. Generally, in a healthy person, almost 1 liter to 1.5 liter जो urine है, it's excreted out from the body per day in the day. एक दिन के अंदर इतना यूरिन जो है वो बाहर निकल रहा है. बट जो फिल्ट्रेट अगर हम देखें पर डे कितना फिल्ट्रेट फॉर्म हो रहा है ग्लोमेरुलर फिल्ट्रेट, दैट इज 180 लीटर per day. So it's very much higher. So we can by looking at these values 180 and 1.5 is too different. इसी से हमें पता चल रहा है कि जो फिल्ट्रेट फॉर्म हो रहा है it's completely not released out from the body as a urine. The things which are present, the substances which are present here, like हमने यहाँ पे देखा कौन कौन से substances है, वाटर है, ग्लूकोज है, अमाइनो एसिड्स है, विटामिन्स है, आयंस है, यूरिया, यूरिक एसिड, क्रिएटिनिन, कीटोन बॉडीज, पिगमेंट्स, अमोनिया, etc. Out of all these, the substances which are useful for the body, they will be reabsorbed from the filtrate. तो उन्हें फिर से बॉडी जो है वो reabsorb कर लेगी, and that thing happens in the the process that we call it selective reabsorption. Only the selected substance will be reabsorbed. सबके सब reabsorb नहीं होंगे. Like creatinine हो गया, uric acid, urea, it's the excretory product. So they should be excreted out through the body. But the substances which are useful for the body, they should be reabsorbed. So they get be reabsorbed by the body through the process which is known as selective reabsorption. So here we discuss about the ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration is the process which happens in the Malpighian body. Net filtration pressure is the 10 mm Hg. It happens due to the glomerular hydrostatic pressure, colloidal pressure. यहाँ पे हमने देखा था colloidal osmotic pressure, and that is capsular hydrostatic pressure. Overall, the pressure which is formed is the 10 mm Hg. Through this pressure, the blood gets filtered out and the glomerular filtrate is formed. The amount of the glomerular filtrate formed by the kidney per minute is known as GFR, and the value of GFR is 125 ml per minute. Overall per day अगर हम देखें तो इसे 180 liter per day. It's very less than the urine which is excreted from the kidney. So now we will discuss about the next step which is known as selective reabsorption.